Pictorials, pictures that support 1,000 words. In 1901, a gentleman named Andrews started his newspaper career as an employee of the Sumner Index. In 1914, he left that paper to start another paper, the Sumner News. By 1915, he consolidated both papers as the Sumner News Index. In 1934, his sons bought the paper from their father. It was a family thing. For over half a century, 3 generations of the Andrews family provided a weekly paper to Sumner and the Valley. In the 1950s, the paper was printed with traditional processes. It was the product of a linotype and movable metal and wood type. Adding a photograph was an expensive process. It had to be sent away to a vendor to be made into a printing block. In 1947, Pete Andrews came up with an inexpensive way to provide a lot of photographs in each issue. He purchased a speed graphic camera and a small offset press. He used the press to print a collage of photos. He titled it Pictorial section of the Sumner News Index. Most of the pictures were related to a story in that week's issue. They were all inserted by hand in every paper. In 2019, the Historical Society received over 1,400 envelopes, each containing multiple negatives. They were the images used in the pictorials. There was very little date or context information about the negatives. To provide full context, each image needed to be dated, and each needed to be matched with the pictorial it was used in. There were some 6,000 to 9,000 negatives in all. So we went to work. Over 6,000 negatives were screened and converted to date. 572 pictorials were scanned front and back and then dated and put into a digital file. Along with the negatives, we received a handwritten index card file. We transcribed that into a digital file. And volunteers in the past had handwritten 2,500 captions from pictorials. Those were also transcribed to a digital file. So now we're in the process of matching and dating. We match and date each image with its pictorial and the newspaper article that it supports. And the ultimate plan is to share the collection with the public with Past Perfect Online. Here's an example of Past Perfect Online from the Issaquah Historical Society. We'll be doing the same with ours. Each image will have a date and a narrative. We will also provide a link to the pictorial for that date and a link to the newspaper issue for that date. And the narrative, of course, will encourage the user to view the pictorial, the newspaper issue, that all goes along with the photograph. This grant will add complete context for the image. The grant will fund the digitation of 11 years of the Sumner News Index, the pictorial years, 1948 to 1958, and it will allow us to share the collection with Past Perfect Online. Pete Andrews retired from Sumner News Index in 1963. He was a longtime member of the Sumner Historical Society.